heli-skiers are presumed dead after an avalanche near Girdwood. What we know about the recovery.
And the first muster of Iditarod 2025 has scratched. We'll catch you up with the progress of all the competitors.
Plus, after the president promises more development of minerals key for technology like cell phones, a state geologist says Alaska has most of them.
And for the first time in more than a month, heavy rain and snow for much of South Central. With that snow also returning to the interior. We'll have your hour-by-hour forecast.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Well, a local heli-skiing company says they're looking at all options to recover the bodies of 3 men who died in an avalanche yesterday afternoon near Girdwood. Now, they couldn't get to the site today because of bad weather.
And Lauren Maxwell is live at the ranger station in Girdwood. Lauren, can you tell us what happened?
Yes, well, we know that the 3 men were all from out of state, and they were skiing with Chugach Powder Guides. That's a local heli-skiing operation here in Girdwood. Now, this sounds like it was a very big avalanche. It happened a little bit about 3:30, I should say, Tuesday afternoon near the West Fork of 20 Mile River. That's just south of Girdwood. According to the company, witnesses saw all 3 of the men deploy their avalanche airbags as they were being swept away. In a statement, the company said additional helicopters and guides were all in the area. They jumped in to help with the rescue attempt immediately, but it was determined it was too risky. The men were buried too deep under maybe 40 to 100 feet of snow. We spoke with an avalanche forecaster today who said avalanche conditions in the area were considerable yesterday, and they're expected to remain dangerous for some time.
There's just this weak snow that formed at the beginning of February, and it's since been buried by several smaller storms, and now it's about 1 foot or 2 deep on average, and it's still making avalanches, and we're expecting that conditions are going to remain dangerous for the foreseeable future.
And the company says they do not plan on releasing the names of the men who were killed.
So, Lauren, Girdwood, of course, is a small town. Do you have any sense of how people are feeling about this?
Sure. I mean, a lot of the folks here depend on the outdoors, not just to recreate, but also for their livelihood. We spoke with one woman who says she didn't know the victims, but that doesn't matter.
I can never know the reasons why these things happen, but I think that we all see ourselves or our friends or our neighbors that it could have been us.
And as you mentioned earlier, the weather today has been awful, just pouring rain and whiteout conditions. Troopers couldn't get back to the scene. They're hoping things will clear up enough tomorrow so they can at least fly over and assess the situation. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
The American Institute for Avalanche Research and Education provides a recommended equipment list for those recreating in places with avalanche risks, includes a beacon, probe, and a shovel. You can find more safety suggestions on navigating Alaska's backcountry on our website.
As we continue to cover this story, we're also keeping a close eye on the forecast and the conditions and how they impact the crews still working in this area and anyone headed into the backcountry.
Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry is watching that forecast closely. Melissa, we hear the snow is moving in.
Yeah, John and Rebecca, we do have this storm moving in as we speak. You could see that rain in Girdwood. That is all snow above of about 2,500 feet. Also, even snow as you head down to the eastern side of Kenai Peninsula. We have snow falling through Turning Pass, also in Seward at this hour, and just a lot of moisture. This is really the wettest storm that we have seen in about 6 weeks to move into South Central. So looking at that area where we did have the avalanche, again, heavy precipitation in this area, that's going to continue through the night into tomorrow morning. And the avalanche danger is still high for this area, especially high as you get down to Seward and Lost Lake. Above the tree line, we're seeing high avalanche danger, and that continues, again, even to some of those lower elevations. Turning Pass, it is considerable. The main concern, as you heard earlier, that weak layer, it's about 2 to 3 feet deep, but also seeing more snow and those high winds contributing to that higher danger likely tonight into tomorrow. Now, temperatures are still too warm for snow in Anchorage and the Valley, still about 40 degrees. But look at the contrast to Seward, where it is already down to 32 degrees. Cooler air is going to move in overnight tonight. Likely that Anchorage and eventually the Valley will see a period of rain, heavy at times, later tonight. And I do expect that to mix to snow, even some sticking snow possible overnight tonight as those temperatures push back into the low 30s. Any accumulations that we get overnight, though, they're going to melt quickly because through the day we'll see those high temperatures getting right back into those upper 30s and low 40s. And I'll have a closer look at that full extended statewide forecast here in a few minutes.
Thank you, Melissa. There are questions tonight over if Alaska will play a metal development role after President Donald Trump said this during his address to Congress last night.
Later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA.
Now, while Alaska was not mentioned, that statement came directly after he talked about developing an Alaska liquefied natural gas pipeline. And the governor did say yesterday he was excited to hear what the president had to say. State geologist says that 50 critical minerals that the United States Geological Survey identifies, which are used in almost any technology, out of those 50, Alaska has 49 of them here in the state. Currently, 3 of them, zinc, germanium, and graphite, are Alaska's most commonly extracted critical minerals. Supporters hope that the president's statement means there's potential for even more development. The Bureau of Land Management says Bocan Mountain near Ketchikan is Alaska's significant rare earth element prospect.
Bocan Mountain has the rare earth minerals as well as uranium. It's been under a development exploration stage for a couple of decades now. It hasn't gotten over that hurdle of becoming a mine yet, but it is definitely the largest rare earth deposit in Alaska.
Now, the geologist said that DNR does not advocate for or against mining projects. As far as environmental concerns, he said the state holds mines to higher standards than that of other parts in the world, which include environmental regulations.
Still ahead, the first scratch of this year's Iditarod.
Yeah, plus, how are the remaining competitors doing out there on the course?
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Usher Brenda Mackey is out for the remainder of this year's Iditarod. Here she is at the ceremonial start in Anchorage. The rookie arrived in Nenana first on Monday after the restart out of Fairbanks, but scratched late this afternoon. That's according to the Iditarod Trail Committee, which says Brenda Mackey is departing, quote, in the best interest of her team. Mackey had 14 dogs in harness upon arrival in Tanana this evening, the ITC noting they were all in good health. Right now, our Iditarod trail crew is eagerly awaiting the arrival of teams to the Ruby checkpoint, which marks mile 319 of this year's nearly 1,130-mile race. Sports Director Jordan Rodenberger is live with the latest tonight. Jordan.
Yeah, Beth, just a little bit of daylight left here in Ruby as the sun sets on the Yukon River. And as you mentioned, teams are rapidly approaching the checkpoint, mile 319. And it's about this point in the race when you see mushers start to map out when and where they're going to take their mandatory rest, whether 8 or 24 hours. And you may expect to see many mushers take theirs here in Ruby. Well, for one musher, they took theirs a little earlier than expected. It was Jeff Dieter, 6-time finisher of this race, declaring his in Tanana earlier today. He's fresh off a Yukon Quest Alaska win and had a good first few days on the trail, but said, hey, in Tanana, my team just needed a little bit more rest out there, so that's what he's taking his 24-hour layover. And no matter how much experience you have on the trail, musher brain is a real thing, so it's nice to have little reminders on the simple things like rights and lefts, or G's and ha's, as it is said in musher lingo.
That's just an easy way for me to never forget those commands. I can also always tell that they're mine because no one else is going to write something like that on their gloves.
Now, barring anything drastic, we are expecting teams to be in by the late edition tonight, but we flew into Ruby here today on the Chase plane and saw a lot of open water on the Yukon River and have heard similar reports from the trail crew, so we'll have updates on that. I'm sure we'll have more tales from the trail as they reach Ruby later tonight. So for now, reporting from Ruby, Jordan Rodenberger, Alaska's news source.
All right, thanks very much, Jordan. And this is that live GPS tracker that we love to bring you. A tracker, not a tractor. This is straight from Iditarod Insider at Iditarod.com. And this shows where each racer's GPS tracker is at the moment. So you can see Paige Drobny is closing in on Ruby, followed by 2024 third-place finisher Jesse Holmes, 2024 runner-up Matt Hall, with a string of racers just behind them. Michelle Phillips, Bailey Vitello, and 2023 champion Ryan Reddington rounding out that top group. right now. And we're back at 10 with more from Ruby. Before that, though, you can join us at 6:30 for extended interviews on our streaming platforms. John, Rebecca?
All right, Beth, thank you very much. And showing appreciation for those who serve and their families. This week on Inside the Gates, we venture off base and onto the slopes.
Quinn White takes us to Military Monday at Girdwood's Alaska Resort.
For many of the service members who are here experiencing this day, this could be their first time at a ski resort, skiing or snowboarding, on a chairlift, or sliding on snow in general. So we're really happy to knock down some of those barriers and offer free lift tickets for the service members.
Every first Monday of the month throughout the ski season, the resort offers free lift tickets for active duty and retired military veterans and their families.
It's a great opportunity to get some service members out and experience winter sports, sliding on snow, and all the fun that brings.
It's also an opportunity for the Alaska Army National Guard to connect with the public.
The biggest thing we're hoping people take away from this is that the National Guard's here. We are part of the community. You can be part of us because we're already part of you. It's a team mission between us and the community to make sure that our state and our local areas are better each day.
Hitting the slopes and strengthening community. Quinn White, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.